What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Running with Friends. Before I introduce my guest today, I just want to say thank you to those who have been listening to the first few episodes that have came out, and to those who have purchased any of the merch that dropped recently. I appreciate it so much. And now to introduce my guest, all ACC runner, one of the young stars of that FSU distance squad, my good friend Paul Stafford. How you doing, brother?
Hey, I'm doing good. Thanks for having me on.
Hey man, so let's get right to it. I just want to start with talking about your high school career, which was a great career. But before I talk about your junior senior year, I want to talk about your sophomore year. You actually missed your entire sophomore year, cross country and track, because of an
Yeah.
injury. What was
Yeah.
the injury you had, and how was that?
Okay, so basically what happened was I was really training hard after my freshman season. Um I don't know, I just met my coach after my freshman year, and then we just kind of started working together. And then over the summer, I was also working with another AAU coach, and I didn't know any better, you know. So I ended up overtraining and doing like double workouts and like getting hurt. And that summer kind of like made me as a runner. I learned a lot, you know. Uh, so then we kind of just progressed, and my coach now, like for Lake Wales, he's the current Lake Wales coach, AJ Richmond. He just really like developed me as a runner and helped me to learn how to like read my body and just be an independent runner. So it really helped me like going forward and even going into college now. Like I still have some of those like habits and tools that he's kind of like embedded in me, you know? So,
Yeah, of course. When you're young like that, obviously you're very hungry for success. You're very hungry to be one of the
yeah,
top guys, so that can easily lead into you overtraining and doing things that you shouldn't do. But obviously, you definitely learned from it because you bounced back. Your junior year, you had a pretty amazing year. But let's
right.
talk about your senior year, because your senior year was quite stellar. I know you went on to the cross country state meet. You're pretty much undefeated that whole season until the state meet when you got second to Charles Hicks, another stellar 2A runner who currently runs at Stanford.
Yeah, yeah.
But if I recall, you committed to FSU right after that race, correct?
So that was actually my roommate, Gabe Curtis. And I'm sure you're familiar with him. Like he's pretty like prominent in like the Florida running community. But yeah, I was definitely undefeated going like into that race, and then just me and Charles like battled it out, and he ended up getting the best of me in the end. But like that's just part of the sport. You just gotta congratulate the man for putting in more effort and just like getting more out of himself than you could get out of yourself that day. But
Of course.
yeah, um, another thing I was gonna say was also just like the fact that I waited till spring to actually like sign, which a lot of people don't really do nowadays, you know?
Yeah,
So I kind of waited till February because I felt like I had a little bit more to like show to
for
coaches. Like
sure.
I could still like, hey, I can still run faster. Maybe I could like get more scholarship
Of
money and like
of
that kind of
course,
thing.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
you always want to show your full potential before you kind of like make that big decision. But
right, right,
you're saying,
exactly.
yeah, you're saying Charles kind of like had full effort that day, but you also ran pretty well. I mean, you ended up running what was back then your PR of 15
Yeah, exactly. So
on ARP, which is no joke. That's a tough course.
yeah,
To
man.
do it at what is now your home, it's pretty special. And
Hmm.
then obviously you fast forward to track season, you go on to get third in the 2 mile, the state meet behind another two stellar runners, Charles Hicks and Nathan Jubran, and then you actually won the mile with a pretty gutsy race. I was there
Yeah,
to
that was
watch it,
awesome, man.
and you just took it from the gun and like never looked back. Tell me about what was going through your head going into that race. I mean, you had ran the 32 the night before.
Yeah, so like with the 32 not panning out the way that I really wanted it to, a lot of times people can like get defeated and like let it get in their head, you know? But we just kind of went back into the hotel and just like kind of just took a mental reset. Me and my coach talked in the hotel room, and we were just like breaking down like how it went and stuff. And I was just telling him, even though I died on the track, I felt stronger than I'd ever been for about 6 laps until I hit that wall.
Yeah,
So I knew I had a move capable of breaking the field in me before we got to that final 800 the next day. That final 800 of the mile, because that was just kind of the plan. Just like kind of sit back and then make that decisive move, and then like you said, don't look back. I'm sure you've had plenty of moments like where I remember your ASUN race. Actually, you
Yeah,
took it, dude.
when
That was
you just feel good and you're just like, man, let's just go with it.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I know a lot of people can relate to that though.
Yeah, so yeah, you also were undefeated in the mile that year during outdoor, leading into that race. You go on to the race. You obviously you finished third in the 32, but you redeem yourself. You win the state title. You get a PR of 4:12. What did it mean to you to be undefeated in the mile, leading up to that race, and then for it to culminate in a huge PR and your first state title?
Yeah, I honestly, I wasn't even thinking about like the undefeated aspect of it really. And I think that was kind of the beauty of it. I just kind of took every race by race that season. Um, so just like every race was kind of just an individual event at that time. And then when you kind of look back as a whole, you realize, man, I stacked all those blocks together and like it just kind of turned out looking really good. Another side story that a lot of people don't know about when it comes to that 1600 though, is the fact that my school record was actually 413, and that was set like back in the 80s by a guy named Billy Jeffries. And so that was a big thing in Lake Wales, just like in my town, that like someone like broke that record. Like no one had came even close to that for like at least like a decade or three. So it was awesome. I'm really
Yeah,
happy about how that turned out for
yeah.
me.
So talking about Lake Wales has actually had some pretty good success in recent years, producing some great distance runners. I mean, you have
Yeah, man.
yourself, your teammate Andy, who'll be joining you at FSU this upcoming fall, who just ran sub 15 at Great American this past fall. And
Right,
then
right.
you
That was
have
awesome.
a rising young star in Mac Updike, who has the potential to do great things this upcoming year. Like, what do you credit the success that Lake Wales has had in recent years at producing high level distance runners?
Uh, Dude, I would honestly say that it has to do with like AJ and the culture that like he's kind of created, and the fact that he just like believed in me enough to get his teaching certificate and say, I want to teach, I want to coach, and just like kind of just go all in on that. And then when a guy goes all in on you like that, you want to put your all into him because he's investing in you too. So that was like a big thing for the Lake Wales culture. It was like a lot of kids that were like showing up at the time. They're like, oh, who's this new coach? And they weren't used to the cross country program being like it's an all or nothing thing. They weren't used to like 6 a.m. practices and stuff like that, like before school and all that.
Yeah.
But he really just wanted like everyone on that team to, you know, either be good or quit. Like it was that kind of thing because that precedent being set is really what's going to cause it to snowball. And that's how like the culture is set for younger guys like Mac coming up. And now he's looking to potentially run for a D1 university in this future. And then Andy, now he's going to be able to join me and we're going to be able to be teammates again. So I'm just really, I have a lot of pride in Lake Wales and like where we've gone just because of what like kind of AJ and I started and what's been created out of it.
Yeah, no,
It's
it's awesome.
awesome, man. I'm
It's
so
yeah,
happy about AJ.
it's awesome when you look back now and you see all these young kids who like are developing into great runners, and you can kind of look back and be like, man, I was like the first one. I was like the founding father, I guess, of the
Yeah,
Lake
yeah,
Wales. Uh,
yeah. I was like the prodigy kind of, and AJ was just like the mastermind behind it all. You
so
know?
yeah, I mean, to end about your high school career, I mean, you had stellar times, stellar high school career, so I'm sure you were highly recruited. So why FSU?
Why FSU? So it's funny, man. Like I I hadn't gotten any D1 looks at all. Like my track times my junior year weren't that special. And I feel like something that a lot of people need to remember is that, when you're going into your senior year and like you don't have that like amazing junior track season, it's still possible to like be recruited by those D1 schools. You just gotta leave your mark on that cross course. And obviously like you have less time to do it and you feel like you're crunched for time because it's like fall and you see everyone around you committing. And I don't know about you, but like I feel like that could like stress out some people.
Oh
How
yeah,
did
100%.
you like with FGCU?
I committed after my cross season my senior year. So like I mean, I had a decent junior year, but then my senior year, like I podium at the state meet for cross country,
Right.
and then I kind of like
Yeah,
rode that wave and just committed early.
that's good. Not, but yeah, that goes to my point. Like exactly, just if you can have a good senior cross season, like schools will go after you.
Oh,
And I
100%.
I remember Andy actually. So Andy's like the Lake Wales runner that's joining me at FSU, obviously, but he, Great American. Um, After he ran, I think he got second or third. It was second or third, and he ran the 14:57. Uh, his inbox was blowing up with like coaches hitting him up. It was like, hey, like just a bunch of D1 schools were
Yeah, of
hitting him up.
course.
It was insane.
So now let's move on to college. I mean,
Yeah.
from the beginning, your first year at FSU, you've been on a tear and you never looked back. I mean, your freshman year was pretty incredible. Um, you ran what you ended up running. You easily ran sub 25 your freshman year at
Yeah.
FSU. You
Yeah.
were one of the top five. You were top five and scored at multiple meets, and then you obviously were part of that key team that. I mean, you guys were unranked, young. No one was expecting FSU to even make it to nationals your freshman year. But you guys come out, storm at home. You guys get second at the regional meet. You guys get that bid. You guys make it for the first time since 2015. How special was that?
That was a really special moment, but it also just like, it just showed that if you can make like a stand in terms of like team culture, it really like will make a difference. Uh, that group of guys, like a lot of people had graduated, and I think a lot of the guys can agree, like the team culture might not have been where we like wanted it to be coming in. And I remember Coach Brayman actually like texting me like after Michael Phillips committed to go to Syracuse because he was being recruited by FSU as well, and like that was one of his top three schools.
Yeah.
But he like, coach just texted me and said, Phillips is going to Q's. It's up to you to carry the flag now. So like, I just kind of took that and like me and the other freshmen just said, we're gonna change something. So we all just like worked hard and followed the lead of some of the guys that were already there. Caleb set a good example, and we just had like a lot of teammates like actually like working together, and that was just a huge thing for us. And then when we were able to get that auto beating Tennessee at the region, that was so huge. So it was definitely different than this past year waiting for the at large. That was more stressful for sure.
Yeah, no, it's awesome to see when a young group of guys, like including yourself, like are able to commit to that grind, commit to that culture, like you said,
Right.
and just say, man, like we have a special group, like we can really do something if we like commit 100%. So then you guys go on to nationals. That year was in Wisconsin. It was snowing. I mean, I remember watching from home. It was snowing. You have
Yeah.
a team from Florida with probably probably a lot of you guys had never seen snow before, and if you had, like barely, and you go onto a course fully covered in snow. How was that adjustment for you guys?
Okay. Well, I don't know about you. Have you ever seen snow before?
I've never seen snow. Actually, I saw snow this past winter break, but not much. So
Yeah, that was like kind of my first experience with snow. It didn't even snow the day before either. Like I woke up, it was like, all right, time to run a 10K for the second time ever. And then like you just open your hotel window and it's coated, the ground's coated in white, and you're just like, what the heck am I getting into? Like, it's insane, man. It was just, it was a lot of like in your head type stuff though. It's definitely manageable. Like I think that can psych some people out at times, like it just being like really cold. Uh, but you know, just knowing that everyone's like equal when you get to the starting line, and when that gun goes off, everyone's just gonna like all be racing in the snow. Maybe some people have had more experience in snow, but like at the end of the day, that's not gonna make or break you. If you can just like if you can just grind it out and like stay out of your head in that bad place, then it can take you a long way.
Yeah, of course. I mean, you guys end up finishing 31st out of
Yep.
31 teams, which I mean, it's still a huge accomplishment just to make it there. And I mean, it was like probably it was the first time for a lot of you guys even making it to that big stage. So, what did you take from that race? What did you learn as an individual and as a team?
Well, okay, so a lot of it really, there wasn't a huge amount of disappointment. We definitely knew that we could be like top 25 if we like ran like up to our like full potential that day, but a lot of us kind of let the snow get to us, and I mean we just didn't run well as a whole. So, but at the end of the day, we were just glad to like make it and actually like be there. So just moving forward, we really knew that we could improve upon that, because I mean it's not hard to improve upon 31st, but like it was just, now we can get the ball rolling. That was like the main takeaway from nationals that year.
Of course. So then to culminate your freshman year cross country, you competed at the USATF Under 20 Cross Country Championships at your home course, finished 20th place. How was that experience? Like that must have been fun.
Oh, that was awesome, dude. I really remember that because it was just like me and my boy Newland, and we're just kind of grinding it out together. And he actually fell in the first quarter or half mile of the race, but it was really like he had an impressive performance, like not that like not a lot of people saw, because he like fell in that first bit and like nearly was like trampled by some people, and he came all the way back to like finish 22nd or 21st or something like that. So that was impressive. But on my end of the spectrum, I feel like I kind of like underperformed that day, but it was just one of those things, like that. Have you ever had a race that's kind of like a wake up call for you?
Oh, 100%.
So like that was really what I looked at that as, and it just said, okay, I need to refocus. Like that was the kind of like biggest takeaway from that race for sure.
So then you haven't really had a actual track season yet at FSU,
No, I haven't. Yeah.
but you have definitely taken advantage of whenever you've raced unattached. Your freshman year, you won the FSU invite at home, and then you went on to run 14:28 at Florida Relays, and then once again you competed at the USATF Under 20 Championships in the 10K. How was that?
So wait, USATF or any of those two races
Just
or?
in general, I mean,
Okay.
getting to compete unattached and still be able to drop some fast times, even though you're not competing under your school.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, that it was really fun. I've never ran a track 5K before, and I've never ran a track 10K before. Like leading up to that, uh, I think that probably the most fun race was the FSU invite, like the home or FSU relays, the home meet. Being able to just like win on your home track, like that's just, you can't beat that. It's so fun. And I was lucky enough to have one of my grad assistants, David Barney. He paced, and actually just like he did a great job. And there was two Auburn guys that were kind of in there as well, but it ended up being me versus the other Auburn guy, and I was like fortunate enough to put some space on him in the last few laps. What as far as another race that actually like not a lot of people know about is I went up to Penn Relays and ran the 10K for the first time on the track, and I came through around like 14:59 or 15 flat through the 5K split, and I wasn't feeling bad, but I pushed the envelope a little bit too much in the fourth mile, and it kind of cost me in the end. But I ended up getting my still as my 10K PR because we didn't have a track season. 30:42 was what I ended up hitting.
Yep.
And dude, USATF, the 10K, so hot, like so hot. They
Yeah,
even
was
had,
it was it in Florida?
yeah, it was in Miramar.
Yeah, I remember because I know you ran it, and I know didn't Tristan? No, did Tristan run it this year? Was
Yeah,
that the same
Tristan
year?
Tristan did. Yeah,
Yeah.
Tristan did. Uh, so like for those of you that don't know, Tristan he ran for St. Cloud High School, and now he runs for Stetson. And just there was a couple Florida boys in that race racing against the other people that came out, but it didn't matter if you were from Florida, or it just didn't matter. You were gonna burn up that race. I mean, even the guy that won like positive split like crazy. So that was a tough experience. That was a tough race.
So then you go into your sophomore year. incredible improvement from. I mean, you had a stellar freshman year. You only go up from there, and then you definitely went up from there your sophomore year. I mean, you finished top three in 4 out of your 6 meets that year. Ran sub 25 every single race. Finished 17th at ACC championships, 47 place higher than you did the year before. So you got all ACC honors. And then again, you were part of that team at regionals. You guys ended up getting 4th place at regionals. But then you guys went up against some heavy hitters that year. I mean, you had Middle Tennessee, Alabama, and Ole Miss, who were all ranked, who you guys finished behind. But you guys were able that year. You guys put together a pretty good season. I mean, you guys finished 6th at the pre-nationals meet. So you guys pretty much put the pieces together to when it came to like the at-large bids, you guys were able to get that at-large bid and
Right.
make it in. So I mean, I remember seeing the video of you guys in your locker room, kind of watching, kind of
Yeah,
waiting,
that
kind of
was
watching.
insane.
I think everyone in Florida was like the same way because I remember watching the show too, and I was like, man, like if they make it back-to-back years, that's impressive. Like they're not only representing themselves, they're representing the state of Florida. So
Yeah.
how exciting was it to hear FSU and seeing that you guys made it again?
First of all, like I just love like the Florida running community, you know? The fact that like I don't know, everyone seems to like whenever they get to that national stage, like they seem to like root for each other, you know? I don't know if you remember like Trinity Prep when they had those like NXN teams
Oh
that like
yeah,
went like they were good back in the day, and like when they went to NXN, like we were all like, yeah, let's go Trinity Prep. Like that was Orlando XC, I think was their thing.
yeah. Their jersey said Orlando was pretty sick.
Yeah, that was pretty sick. But yeah, where was I going with just like I don't know what were we saying? Like I
Just
kind of
like
got sidetracked.
you like just talking about like the support of like Florida, like just the
Oh
community
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
supporting you guys. Even though like there's like schools that are your rivals, like it's still dope to see like a school from Florida make it.
Right. Okay. Yeah. And then there's like another example of that in like Noah Perkins, whenever he made that nationals in the 5K, we were
Yeah,
just everyone was so hyped about that because you know that's just a kid that you see like come up like and always on like Florida runners and stuff in high school. And that was a kid that I remember like watching win races when I was hurt as a high school sophomore. And when I was hurt, I could just all I could do was like watch the videos of the people racing that weekend. But yeah, it's awesome, man. I love the community aspect of it.
yeah. So then that year at um cross country nationals, you finished 71st.
Yeah, that was
Which
probably my best race
you
ever.
finished 193rd the year before. Like, talk to me about just stepping up as just a sophomore, finishing first for your team, and just finishing 71st, and just seeing that huge improvement. And probably, I'm sure you had an incredible summer that year, and then just
Hmm.
seeing how that summer paid off going into that national meet.
So I know this might seem weird, but like whenever I was being recruited, I remember having like a good conversation on phone with like the Oklahoma coach. His name was Kevin Ondrzek. And I remember one thing that really stuck out to me in that conversation with him was that if you just your complete like your only goal your freshman year, if you just like focus on not getting hurt and checking all the boxes and completing all the workouts, then if you just do those things, you're going to springboard. And like that was the quote he used, like you're going to springboard into sophomore year. And so I don't know why it stuck with me so well, but I just took it and I just like went with it. And that whole season was just like one big springboard for me. And it really showed at nationals because that was the most places, like 122 places improved. Man, that race, like there's so many things about it that I could talk about, but really like the coolest thing about it was that I just went out and unlike the year before where I was just struggling to stay on the pack as it was running
Yeah,
away from me, I was like in the thick of it and I could like look to my left and I could look to my right and I could see like big names, like guys that are known to be like really fast, not only when they were in high school, but they're still doing well in like the NCAA today. So it was just really cool to like, look to my left and look to my right and like just kind of see, oh, I'm in the Oregon pack right now. And like that was a team that got, I don't know, they were top 15 for sure. But no, that race is awesome. I sometimes if I'm just like alone on a run, like I'll definitely like just kind of get lost and like think about how that race was, because that's the best race of my life in my opinion up until now.
No,
So
I mean, I could definitely agree with that, and because that happens to me too. I mean, I ran 14:35 this outdoor before it got canceled, and I do the same
yeah,
thing.
you
Like, there's
visualize it. Yeah.
sometimes I'll be running, I'm like, damn, like that race was so freaking good. Like that's
Yeah,
crazy.
man, I
It's like a
swear.
breakthrough race.
Yeah. You just
So
like you see yourself going like around like for the bell lap, and you're looking at the clock, and like you just see it like a bunch of times in your head. It just keeps going.
yeah, it's insane. So
That's
obviously,
awesome.
when you have like incredible season like that, it's always like you always kind of like use it as like momentum going into track season. But obviously, as everyone knows, track season got canceled because of COVID-19.
Yeah.
What was your
Yeah.
initial reaction to finding out that track season was officially canceled across the entire NCAA?
Okay. So our team like was hearing like a lot of stuff. Like everyone like has like a where were you type story, like, how people will say like, oh, where were you when like the Twin Towers fell? Like that's
Yeah, yeah.
that. Where were you when your season got canceled? So for us, we were doing an easy run at Forest Meadows, and um, there was like a little bit of announcements going out and stuff, but we just go out and run at this trail in Tallahassee, and then when we get back, we're all checking our phones to see, oh, no more season, guys.
Yo,
So
that's literally the same as me. Like, obviously,
exactly,
you saw all the speculations, and before NCAA canceled, like you had already seen like NBA had canceled, like
yeah,
all
the
these
night
big leagues
before,
had canceled, but NCAA was still like, oh, like no, like season's still going. So then the same thing happened. Like we all met up as a team.
yeah.
We went out for an easy run, like with the girls team and everything. We come back, we're all chilling in the living room, stretching, rolling out.
Oh
Pull out
my
my phone,
god.
I'm like, yo, what? I see like multiple tweets, multiple posts, and I'm like, yo, guys, season just got canceled. I'm like, yo, what? It was insane.
That's it. Yeah, and like not only that, they were at the meet. They were at the meet, like
Yes, a
when
lot
it
of
was
teams
happening.
were.
So I remember hearing a story from one of my teammates is from New Zealand actually. So he talks to like a lot of the Kiwi runners from NAU, and uh, their head coach Mike Smith. Like apparently they were doing some like pre-meet type stuff on the indoor track there, and then in the middle of their thing they just said, "All right, cut it, it's canceled, guys." And so they
Yeah.
just stepped off. It was just imagine that, man. I feel like it would be worse being there and then
Oh,
being pulled from it, in
100%.
my opinion.
Oh, 100%. Like
But
that.
personally, for me, I didn't really like it. Didn't affect me as much because you know I had I had low iron going into that point. I mean, I had a great cross season, but I didn't recover from the cross season as well as I should have, and
Yeah.
so my iron got low, and I didn't really get my levels checked, and I was kind of like bombing workouts and stuff like that, and just I had a bad race at Indiana, and just it wasn't really going well for me. I was like really like at a low point.
Yeah.
So this whole season that we've kind of like went through like this coronation, it really like I feel like it helped a lot of people in terms of personal growth, that kind of thing.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. It's giving people time. And like, I also feel like it's made a lot of people like really hungry going into like this fall and this spring. Like, it's like, man,
100%.
like at least for, like, I know for me, like, I mean, I had already finished up my 4 years of cross. Like, obviously, I went to a school that didn't have track. So I was kind of like, I was kind of ready to like hang it up. I wasn't even thinking about doing the fifth year before Corona happened. But once Corona happened, like, and I was running so well that outdoor season, like that short outdoor season, I was kind of like, man, like I feel like I have so much more,
Right.
so I'm gonna pursue that fifth year. So I agree with what you're saying, 100%. Like I feel like it's definitely made a lot of people hungry. It's made a lot of people who might have been, like you said, like you dealing with low iron, or people who like might have been dealing with like small injuries, is giving them time to like recover 100% from that, and then just refocus, reset, and just be ready for like a whole nother year.
Exactly. It really like as much as we like said, man, that like sucked. I think everyone can look back on it and take at least one thing that was like positive out of it. Like you might have like developed relationships with people that you never really would have thought you would have. Like you probably became closer to new people. You also just like got better as a person, just
Yeah,
like just that kind of thing, man. Like everyone like looks at it as if it was bad, but it could have been, and you could look at it as a blessing in disguise.
Oh,
That kind of thing.
100%. I feel like also a lot of people, like at least like myself, like have ventured into like other things, like me starting this podcast, me starting a YouTube
Exactly.
channel. Like I feel like a lot of people have like ventured into doing things outside of running, like which because you have so much more time. Where if you're at school, like you kind of have like schoolwork, you have like practice at set times and stuff like that. Where like as of now, like you kind of like obviously you're following like your coach's plan and stuff like that, but you kind of like are doing it on your own time and stuff like that. So it
Hmm.
gives you a lot more time to do other things as well.
No, yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'm really thankful for it at the end of the day.
So
So
then, so recently ACC announced that fall Olympic sports, which includes cross country, may begin competition as soon as September 10th. How excited are you about that?
man, I'm just glad that the ACC like came through and held firm, because I feel like a lot of times, and we saw it with track season, like whenever the Ivy League set the precedent, a lot of people just like kind of followed like them and just kind of
Yeah,
said, okay, well if they're doing it, like they're the smartest ones, okay, we'll follow suit. But I really feel like, you know, it was time. Like the numbers were going down, and now there's like little spikes and stuff now, but like people are taking like more precautions now than ever. So I was just glad that the ACC said, if like these pro leagues can do it, we can still have a season. We just gotta make sure that we keep it really controlled and do it the right way. So I was just so glad that they didn't give up, because at the end of the day that could have been like an easy way out, but
yeah,
they also wanted their paycheck on the other hand of it. So you got to think about it a lot of different ways.
yeah. Of course. I mean, so with that being said, I mean, for those who know Paul and follow him on Strava or just follow him on social media, you've had a pretty good summer of training so far. So I'm sure you're excited that your season isn't canceled. Talk to me about summer training. I mean, you took a summer trip to North Carolina with a couple of your boys, and then also like just having that group of guys that you train with down there in Lake Wales. Like how
Yeah.
how how nice is that to have a solid group of guys to train with, and just you have a lot of good friends who like are great runners, Jake Turner, Wayne Thomas, guys like that you get to train with like all summer. How special is that?
Yeah. I mean, first of all, like the North Carolina trip, that was really cool. That was a cool way to open up like the summer block, I guess, because uh, Andy Denton just texted a group, and it's just like me, Zach Cloud, who's also going to be a freshman at FSU, and Jake Turner, who's going to be a freshman in North Florida. We just all said, heck yeah, we'll go to North Carolina with you, because he has like a lot of his family actually lives up there. So that was cool. We'd have a place to stay. They'd like feed us, and like, it's just like, why wouldn't you say no? And that's awesome. So we kind of opened up our first week or so there, and we just kind of trained. It was low mileage. We weren't doing a lot, but that also opened up the opportunity for us to like go hiking in the mountains and just kind of like enjoy it and like have fun. And like that kind of trip, like it's just it's just something you don't get to do very often. So when Andy like gave us that opportunity, we really just like took it, and then it kind of like helped us like just enjoy like running, even if it was just like a little bit, just like kind of like enjoy it and realize, man, we get a whole summer block like this when we get back to Florida. Like it was a great like send off. So then we all like carried that momentum, like me, Andy, Jake, and Zach, like we all carried that momentum when we got back down to Florida, and we've all had pretty good summers. So uh, look out for those freshmen, man. I'm proud of them. They're gonna make some noise, and I just know like Jake's gonna do well on that UNF roster, and potentially like do some big things in the region. And I know Andy and Zach are gonna fall right in our lineup and maybe surprise some of those older guys that might be sleeping on them. So
Yeah, no, I've seen a lot of the freshmen in Florida have really been putting in that work, and I'm very excited. I mean, you know how I am.
exactly,
I love supporting the youth. I love seeing all those guys coming up because I mean they're pretty much the ones taking over as we're exiting now. So that's very exciting.
exactly.
So now let's talk about TikTok and your TikTok fame. You've been on the TikTok grind since quarantine started, and you finally had a banger with that long run TikTok that blew up. Talk to me about that TikTok.
Dude, that was my 15 seconds of fame right there. No, but dude, when we started TikTok, it was like me and Jojo Francois, who he ran the 800 for Lake Brantley, and he ran like 151 in high school. Like he's a stud.
Yeah,
So
he was a stud. He was in my conference in high school, so I know that guy well.
yeah, so a lot of us went back. Like a lot of people don't know this, but me and JoJo, we go way back. We ran for like Central Florida Gliders back in the day, and I know a lot of Central Florida people because of that. I know Juan Moscasco. He runs for
Yeah,
George Washington
Kanan,
now.
Colton, all those
Exactly. I
glider
know.
boys.
Yeah, all the Central Florida Glider boys, and even your guest last week, Ashley. Like we go way back too, you know. So
Yeah,
it was cool to like have like a glider roommate in college. But whenever we were locked up in the house, me and JoJo, and you know, like JoJo, me and like when me and him get together, we can clown like at times.
oh
We're,
yeah.
we just got like we just got completely hooked on it. And then JoJo had one that like kind of blew up a little bit, and then we knew like, oh, it's possible. Like if we just do something crazy enough. Um, and then JoJo, like I think he got to like 5,000 followers or something, and I was barely at 100 or something like that. And then when I got home, I had a long run one day, and it was like the week before this 4 mile time trial that I was doing. Like a lot of people did time trials in quarantine, but he like I had a friend and another friend that like had came to stay at my house, and they agreed to like drive next to me on my long run, and like I mean it's good, like good company, and like someone to pass you water and stuff and blast music. Like it's really fun, honestly. Like whenever my friends ask me to, I mean, drive next to them on an easy run, I'm like, sure, yeah, I'll do it anytime. It's good company. But I put those clips together. They recorded some clips of me, and I just threw some Lil Uzi in the background and didn't think anything of it. And then it gets to like 8 p.m. that day that I posted it, and I look and it's got like 10,000 likes on it, and I was like, oh my gosh, it's happening.
This is the one.
This is the one. This is the banger, you know? You ever have a tweet that's just like, it
Oh
starts
yeah.
steamrolling? Yeah.
Oh, all the time.
Yeah. I remember, dude, like just nights like NBA draft night, like the tweets go crazy, that kind of thing. But yeah, with TikTok, uh, you know, I didn't really expect it to happen. I mean, now it has like 2 million views on it, which is kind of insane. But I just I just keep on posting them, like, and they're kind of fun to make at times. And uh, I feel like there'll be more opportunities for content whenever like season starts back up again.
Yeah.
So we'll be able to do like I don't know travel vlogs or like
Yeah, yeah.
like
No, you've been pretty consistent with what you're posting. I think you post quality content. I mean, I follow you. Big fan. Love your TikTok. I love when you started doing the like your training week TikToks. I thought those were dope. I mean, those are cool.
yeah. I just like it's good to like switch it up and stuff and just like see what kind of I mean that's the creative part of it. You can make whatever comes to your mind.
Yeah,
So I just
my favorite thing about your TikToks is like to like your runner friends, like they see your TikToks and you're like posting about like your 80-mile weeks and your training, and we're all like, oh, like that's solid. And but like to like the non-runner casuals on TikTok,
yeah,
they're like you're like a god. I've been seeing the comments and they're like, holy
dude,
shit,
I
bro,
read like
14
so many
miles,
comments. I'm not even gonna lie.
14 miles, bro. You're like built different, and like all of us like at least. I mean, props to you for running 14 miles, but like it's like all your friends who run in college like
They
can all run
understand it.
14 miles. Yeah,
Yeah, they
it's just
understand it.
hilarious.
So like at first only people that ran saw it and they were like commenting on that. But then when it kind of like grew and like started to go into the circle of people that like don't run and like they were watching that, then they were like, bro, I can barely run to my fridge. Like, how are you running that? But like that was probably the most commented thing on that video. Like, and it just kept on going. And actually a couple weeks back, like people started commenting like oi mate and stuff like that, so you know the video's overseas now because like people are like it's just crazy to think like how many people have actually watched that. But
All right, so before we close out the episode, I want to do a little Q&As so that people get to
okay,
know you a
sick.
little better. So I'll just shoot you with some questions and you just give me your answer.
Okay, I
You
got you.
ready?
Yeah.
All right, so favorite trainers to train with?
Favorite trainers, pegs, been wearing them since.
Hardest course you've ever raced at?
Hardest course, uh probably, you know, Virginia Tech's pretty tough, I'd say that. Yeah.
Favorite rapper?
Favorite rapper, I'm mainstream Drake, but I know a lot more about Drake than a lot of people do. So
I like it. I like it. Your favorite race distance?
favorite race distance, 10K.
Ooh,
Yeah.
okay. Oh, favorite kind of food?
Favorite food, I love I love pizza, man. That's my favorite.
uh,
Yeah.
one of your biggest pet peeves?
I hate chewing, dude. Like when you can hear people like chewing, like
Yes.
let's say they got like gum in their mouth and you can just hear it, like gross, bro. Gross.
Oh, you prefer a morning run or a night run?
Morning runs for sure. Yeah, every day.
Get
Every
them out
day.
the way.
Yeah,
Get them
yeah.
out the way.
Oh yeah.
Oh, favorite drink?
Favorite drink. I've been drinking a lot of Body Armor lately, like the orange mango. But
That's good
I,
stuff.
I feel like it depends on the season. If it gets to like wintertime, I'm like all in on hot chocolate like all the time. But like I feel like a year round thing for me is like orange juice, like just Florida boy every morning.
Oh yeah. All right, last question. On a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being least annoyed and 10 being the most annoyed, how annoyed do you get when you post pictures or videos of you running at the Lake Wales clay roads and people automatically assume it's Claremont?
Dude, I man, that was a really commented thing as well. Like, hey, is this Claremont? Is this Claremont? I'm like, no, this is Babson Park. It's got to like I answered it at first, the first couple times, and I don't even answer it anymore. Like,
Bro, everyone's always like, oh, every time you post, like whether it's like on Instagram or Twitter or something, everyone's like, oh, Claremont, I love that place. And you're like, bro, it's not Claremont, bro.
yeah, it's not Claremont. It's man, I mean, remember when you came out for the long run we
Yeah.
did? Like, I mean, it basically looks the same. Like, I
Oh,
understand it,
100%.
but yeah, I mean, and they both have hills.
I will go on record, and you guys can hear this. Babson Park, clay roads are way more hillier than Claremont.
Oh my gosh.
On record.
It's on record, boys. It's on
Listen,
record.
I love Claremont because it's like a super big, like a big 10-mile loop. Like that's
Yeah,
perfect for
for
long
sure.
runs. But like Claremont, like it's like just like maybe like 2-3 miles of hills at
Got
the
some rolling
end.
hills in the back though
And
too.
they're not too bad. But when I did that long run with you guys at Babson Park, boy, that was like gradually like climbing the whole time. I
Yeah,
was like,
man.
bro, like no wonder these boys are so fast, man. They be running out here every day.
It can kind of zap you a little bit, that's for sure.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, and especially if you're not used to it, like that kind of thing. So
Well, man, I appreciate you coming on the podcast.
yeah, this is fun. Thanks.
Man, I love seeing you succeed. You're a great kid, man. So anything you want to say before we end? Anyone you want to shout out? Anything?
Uh, Man, just shout out the entire Florida running community, honestly. Like, seriously, I'm glad that like this kind of thing has kind of came to be prominent over this like quarantine and stuff. So I'm just, I just hope that everyone can kind of just like feed off of each other this season and just like kind of show like to the entire nation really that like you don't need like altitude and like mountains and stuff to like be an elite distance runner.
Oh,
Like
100%.
just take advantage of the tools that you got and just like really go and like show the entire country like Florida's got some fast people. Like Florida's nothing to mess with. Just like have some pride in your state.
Yes,
You know?
sir. And humidity is hard. It's way harder to run in humidity in Florida than altitude. I'm just gonna say that.
Yeah.
All right, man. I appreciate you, man.
Thanks so much, Jan. Appreciate it.